Okay, in this section we're going to look at inverse trig functions to find angle measures. In this specific case, we're going to use inverse tangent. This is where, I think I talked about this before, where you have the tangent with the little -1. If you look on your calculator, for most of you, you'll have a tangent button, and above that will be the tangent to the -1. You'll push second or shift and then tangent. So what we want to do is find out what this angle is right here. So we know that the tangent of A is equal to opposite over adjacent. So what we do is we say tangent of A is 15 over 20, or we can say these are both divisible by 5, and so it would be 3 over 4. Okay? And then, now that we know that tangent of A is equal to 3/4, we can flip these around, the A and the 3/4, and it becomes an inverse tangent. So its inverse tangent of 3 over 4 gives us the measure of angle A. And then this is the point where we get our calculator out and we do the inverse tangent of 3/4. So, oops, let me try this again real quick. And if we do that on our calculator, we end up with, to the nearest tenth, it should be 36.9 degrees. So that's literally telling us that this is 36.9 degrees. Okay? So again, tangent of A is 15 over 20, or 3/4, or 0.75. We know that the inverse tangent of 3/4 will be the measure of angle A. And we punch that in, we get 36.8 blah blah blah, which rounds to about 36.9. And okay. And then we want to find also, if we want to find the measure, we know the measure of angle B is 90. If we want to find the measure of angle C, we can subtract that from 90. Okay. So here's a couple of problems. Oops, let's do this. Again, we know that the sine of A is equal to 0.87. Therefore, the inverse sine of 0.87 gives us the measure of angle A. So if we want to figure this out, we punch in the inverse sine here, and we would get, for an answer to the nearest tenth, we'd get, 60.5. And if we want to know what the measure of angle B is, again, we know that the two angles add up to 90, so the measure of angle B would be equal to 90 minus the measure of angle A. So that's 90 minus 60.5, and that would give us approximately 29.5. Okay? So again, the measure of angle A is the inverse sine. That's 60.5. Measure of angle... Oh, I'm sorry. And then here's the cosine of B. So we do the same thing. I got a little confused, but that's okay. For cosine of B is 0.15. So again, we know that the inverse cosine of 0.15 ends up being the measure of angle B. And if we do that, we end up with 81.4. So this ends up equaling 81.4. Okay? And it says, use a calculator for example 1 and the inverse tangent to approximate angle C. if we go back to the original picture, we had, I believe, something like this, where we had A here. Oops, I'm sorry. No, we didn't. We had B here, we had A here, and we had C, and then we had 15 and 20. So we want to find the measure of angle C using inverse tangent. That would be tangent of C, this time equals 20 over 15. That reduces to 4 over 3. So now that we have the tangent of C equal to 4 over 3, we can say that the inverse tangent of 4 over 3 equals the measure of angle C. And punching that into our calculator, we end up with 53.1. So that would be this angle right here, 53.1 degrees. And we want to find the measure of angle D here. So again, since that's true, we can say that the inverse sine of 0.54 is equal to the measure of angle D. And I'm going to do inverse sine on our calculator. We end up with approximately 32.7 degrees. And that's it. Thanks.